Shalom, shalom, beloveds. I just want to tap in with y'all really quickly today, speak about something. The devil likes to attack in many different ways, right? I've always said that there's three different voices that, that we hear inside of our heads. There's our own thought, there's the enemy's thought, and there's the thought of Yah, which is God, right? And so one thing that people don't really understand is that how do we hear from the Most High, right? Usually whenever we're in a situation or we go through something or we're dealing with something, it comes into like a spiritual whisper or unction, right? Like a warning or advice as well. You know what I'm saying? So it can be just like you mess around, throw trash on the floor, and then you have that feeling that's like, hey, well, pick that up. You don't got to do that. Or you see somebody suffering or going through a hard time, and they, you're like, well, you should probably go over there, ask how they're doing, and try to uplift their day. Right? Even some people that don't really get it all the way, this voice is considered to be called the first mind, right? Where situations transpire and we're like, oh, I should listen to my first mind, right? And so in that first mind, that is really, the Most High is speaking to us, within us, to let us know, to be able to be on track of a correct appropriation of our moral compass, right? Now, the enemy will tell you lies and deceit. The enemy will tell you that you're not good enough. The enemy will tell you that you're tired. But why even pray? Are you sure that prayer is going to get answered? Are you sure that situation is going to work out the way that you want it to work out? Who said that you were good enough? Look at you, that people don't like you and all this type of stuff. These are accusations. These come with doubt and shame and fear. And the enemy uses these weapons and tools to be able to try to tear you down, to keep you in a vantage point in his playing field, right? There is a saying that says that anybody that's beneath you will try to pull you down so they can beat you with experience, right? So therefore, we don't need to lower ourselves to a negative standard or a standard of self-belittlement or sabotage in that case. Because when we do, we allow the enemy to be able to have spiritual legalities, right? Spiritual legal authority and jurisdiction over us, because we fall into suit with the suggestive imaginations via temptations, or via suggestive thoughts that the enemy will try to pour into our minds. And so because he can't read our minds, he will try to go ahead and implant certain seeds and fiery darts at our heads in order for us to be able to come into agreement with these things, so that way we can fall victim into the scenario or situation what he has set for us, right? Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that the reason why the enemy does this is because you're very powerful. Just because you're powerful does not mean that you should take just a break on yourself and think that, okay, well, I'm powerful, I don't really have to do anything. This is what spiritual warfare truly is, right? Spiritual warfare is given to us in the scriptures, which says that we are supposed to pray without ceasing. This means that the enemy never rests, because we know in scripture it says that there is no rest for the wicked. So also there's another scripture that speaks about the demon that has left the house, and the house is clean, and whenever the demon comes back, it brings 7 more demons stronger than it for them to be able to inhabit the house, right? Now, in this scripture, what it's speaking about is our bodies, our vessels, our temples, right? Because we know that we are temples, because scripture clearly says that the Most High does not dwell in temples, or does not dwell in temples made by hands of man. So this would mean that these are something that is a more physical attribute, just like the flesh is not made by hands, but by the hands of the Creator. So it's not made by hands of man, right? And so as the Most High loves to dwell with us, because he desires an intimate relationship with us, the enemy sees that it's very jealous. So whenever so many people will not keep in mind that the enemy will continuously and constantly try to break you down, is because the enemy is jealous of your relationship that you have with the Most High Father, right? And so because he does not have that same relationship, as he has forfeited his rights to his sin and transgressions, then we know that the presence of the Most High is not over, Lucifer, over his demons or anything like that. And when I mean like over them, I mean like it's a part of the cover. Now we have to keep in mind that the enemy requires authority. The enemy requires permission to be able to do things. This is why in Job, Satan, Hashatan, had asked the Most High if he could go ahead and torment Job, or if he, could try to destroy Job or whatever. And he was given permission to mess with his life, but never to kill him, right? There's other scriptures that these entities have had to seek approval from the Most High, right? Now, one thing that stands out to me in scripture, right, is that once Yahushua HaMashiach, which they call Jesus the Christ, right, was on the scene, then we know that there was the man that had the sickness, that was possessed. And so, as they knew who he was, what people don't get is that they asked him for permission to be able to go into the pig. They didn't say send us to the pig. They said that, we know who you are, if thou cast us, can you cast us into the pig? So, as he granted, their request, he ended up casting him into the pig, and the pig ran out the cliff, right? Then we also know that there was a time when he was possessed, a man that was possessed, and so it was like that, that Peter and Paul that I know, but who are you? So this shows that there's some form of authority. And so what the enemy wants to do is to try to trick you out of your spot by telling you all these different type of voices and everything, that you're not good enough, or that you're working, you're working without a means, that everything that you think is going to happen is going to fail, or, that there will be no power that will be given unto you, or whatever, right? And so when we keep this in mind, then we know that that's a lie from the enemy. The devil is a lie. And this goes with what I just said, that there's three voices. Now, there's a voice that you hear inside your head, which is your own thought, which is of the flesh, where, you tend to wager with yourself, oh, well, should we sleep in more? Or should we, these type of things as far as that goes, or I desire to do this in these things, right? And so the main thing about it is, first and foremost, which voice are you listening to? What voice are you listening to, right? Make sure you're listening to the right voice. Don't allow the enemy to trick you out of your spot. The enemy will try to do so many things in order to try to throw you off. The enemy will try to destroy so many things. In the midst of breaking generational curses, in the midst of breaking curses and spells, and loosening of strongholds, and soul ties, and all these different spiritual and demonic attacks and assignments that have been cast against you. We know that in Ephesians 1:20 through 23, that all the things that we wrestle against in the spirit have all been placed under the authority of Yahushua Mashiach, Jesus the Christ, right underneath his feet. And so as we see that those things have been placed underneath the Messiah's feet, those things also have been given to the church. What is the church? In Torah, it says the church is the assembly. So this would be you and I. And this is another reason why fellowshipping is a beautiful thing to be able to do, is because whenever we fellowship, we realize that there are many different angles and aspects that each and every one of us carry, many different struggles that each of us have gone through, And so as we have sojourned through these different struggles and everything, that the Most High is in the midst of each and every one of us, because we know that the testimonies that we share, or the testimonies that we go through when the times of being tested, or for us to be able to give others keys into the darkness, the light into the darkness in their situations, for them to maneuver their way back into salvation, to maneuver their way back into deliverance, right? And so when you realize how strong you are and how much authority that you have, then you'll also realize the reason why the devil does not want you to have it, and why he wants you to try to forfeit it, because he forfeited his rights, and he wants you to forfeit your rights. So one thing that you must always do is make sure that you stay prayed up, make sure that you read the word, and make sure that you place the armor of Yah over you, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the girdle of truth, the shods of the gospel, the shield of faith, and the sword of the spirit, most definitely, and that you're able to use it effectively and efficiently. Because what some people don't know, is that we carry angels amidst us, and they're protecting us, and we plead that armor over us, and then plead it over them, and they protect us.